It's Monday. Hope you enjoyed the weekend. Coming up, Buick channels new buyers. But first, a look at your morning headlines. That's the scene at GM's Detroit Hamtramck assembly plant this morning. Those workers are among the roughly 46,000 hourly GM employees who went on strike at midnight last night, just 24 hours after their contract with the automaker expired. Negotiations between the union and automaker are expected to resume today at 10 a.m. Eastern. A source with knowledge of the talks telling Automotive News that the two sides are far apart on a majority of issues, having agreed in principle on just 2% of what's in a normal contract. We caught up with Detroit Hamtramck assembly line worker Del Reese Ballard, who is protesting a number of issues, such as GM's use of temporary workers.
We ain't asked for nothing new. We asked for the things they already took. You know what I'm saying? We got temp workers that working right beside people, and they've been here for years. Why you still a temp worker? Why you can't get the same benefits that everybody else get? Then they want to close plants. They ain't giving us nothing back. So, I mean, we stuck with GM when they was going through their trials and tribulations. We was right there. Didn't nobody go get new jobs and leave them. We stuck it out. Now it's our time to be negotiated on the contract. They turned their backs on us, and it's sad.
In a statement, GM says its offer to the UAW includes more than $7 billion in U.S. investments, higher pay, and improved benefits. It also includes more than 5,400 jobs, the majority of which would be new. GM says it has solutions for assembly plants in Michigan and Ohio that haven't been allocated new products. According to a person familiar with the matter, GM's offer would allocate electric truck production to the Detroit Hamtramck assembly plant and battery cell manufacturing to the shuttered Lordstown complex in Ohio. GM says it offered workers a signing bonus of $8,000 per member if they ratify the deal, along with wage gains or lump sum payments in all 4 years of the contract. Here's GM's Executive Vice President of Manufacturing, Gerald Johnson, in a video statement.
So all in all, we think this offer is very sound and strong with investments and job creation.
A source says many of GM's proposals came very late Saturday night as the contract was about to expire. In a letter to GM, UAW's Terry Dittis expressed disappointment in the late offer, writing, quote, "Had we received this proposal earlier in the process, it may have been possible to reach a tentative agreement and avoid a strike." This is the first national automaker strike since 2007, when the UAW walked out at GM for 2 days and Chrysler for 6 hours. The Teamsters union saying it will stand in solidarity with the UAW. A spokesman confirmed a report that roughly 1,000 Teamsters workers would refuse to deliver GM vehicles to dealerships as long as the UAW was on strike. Lost production may cost GM about $50 million a day in earnings before interest and taxes. That's according to Credit Suisse analyst Dan Levy. But the automaker does have some cushion. As of September 1st, GM has a 77-day supply of new vehicles, well above the industry average of 61 days, according to Cox Automotive. On Twitter, President Donald Trump urged the two sides to come together to get a deal done. Meanwhile, some Democrats running for president tweeting that they stand with the union. The strike comes as the UAW has been the target of an ongoing federal corruption probe. According to reports, UAW President Gary Jones has been implicated in the scandal. Now, the GM workers aren't the only UAW workers on strike.
We're out here to try to get things better for us.
That's Lachelle Harris, a housekeeper at GM's Technical Center in Warren, Michigan. She was among the dozens of Aramark janitorial workers picketing at the facility on Sunday. More than 850 Aramark employees at 5 plants in Michigan and Ohio went on strike 24 hours before GM workers did. Aramark workers have been without a new contract since March of 2018. Meanwhile, UAW workers at Ford and Fiat Chrysler remain on the job. Contracts for those hourly employees also expired Saturday evening, but they were extended while negotiations with GM were ongoing. For continuing coverage of the strike, stay glued to autonews.com. Buick has been on a quest to shed its image of being an old person's brand. You might remember these spots from a few years back.
Looks like the Garcia's got a new car.
What'd they get?
I don't know.
The 116-year-old brand is continuing its push to reach a younger, affluent audience. And Buick has even tapped its own employees who fit that demographic to develop some unconventional strategies. As our Hannah Lutz reports, Buick recently began advertising on Pinterest, working with HBO's Big Little Lies, and partnering with Instagram influencers who own Buicks. Plus, it has sponsored The Skim, a popular daily news roundup for millennial women. According to Buick, since its broader campaign began in 2014, consumers' opinion of the brand has risen 56%, and consideration has grown 50%, both all-time highs. Finally, a first shift flashback. Buick's parent company, General Motors, was founded on this day in 1908. That wraps up today's newscast. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning. Take care.